제가 좋아해도 돼요?
If you're burnt out from dating apps, ghosting, and the never-ending cycle of casual encounters, then you're not alone. In a world that's increasingly built around convenience and instant gratification, the idea of taking your time to fall in love almost feels revolutionary. And yet, there's one unexpected place where that kind of romance still thrives: Korean dramas. Dating today can be exhausting. It's easier than ever to meet people, but harder than ever to form something real. With the rise of dating apps, the process has become streamlined. In fact, it has become too streamlined that it would feel like dating has no value anymore. Swipe left, swipe right, match, chat, maybe meet, maybe not. Maybe you hit it off, maybe you're ghosted the next day. People are dating more, but at the same time, they're also committing less. Everything feels temporary. Everything feels transactional. In fact, studies show that while dating app usage has skyrocketed, long-term relationship satisfaction is on the decline. The convenience of modern dating has come at a cost: authentic connection. And for many women, especially those who've experienced the highs and lows of app-based romance, the question quietly echoes: is this really what love is supposed to feel like? This is where K-dramas come in, not as a perfect solution, but as a form of storytelling that taps into something deeply human that so much of modern dating has left behind. These shows reject the rush. Instead of racing toward physical intimacy or dramatic breakups in the first episode, they slow things down, way down. Relationships unfold over time. There's space for silence, for awkwardness, for trust to build. And in that space, something rare happens. We feel the romance. We believe in it because we get to watch it grow, step by step. K-dramas aren't just about attractive leads and scenic cafes. They're about the emotional journey. Characters take the time to understand one another. Feelings are hinted at, then denied, then repressed. And when love finally surfaces, it feels earned. We've seen the growth, the struggles, and the quiet transformations that happen when two people begin to care deeply about each other. What sets these stories apart is emotional authenticity. Unlike many Western shows where characters leap from attraction to intimacy within an episode or two, K-drama couples circle each other with care. They reveal vulnerabilities over time. They don't fall in love at first sight. They build it, layer by layer, through shared experiences, conflicts, and moments of quiet connection. Take It's Okay to Not Be Okay, for example. In one of its most memorable scenes, Moon Gang Tae, a caregiver who has spent his life suppressing his own needs, finally lets his guard down. He's sitting beside Ko Moon Young, a children's book author haunted by trauma and isolation. They're not kissing, they're not even touching. They're just sitting silently in the moonlight after a long, emotionally exhausting day. And then she says softly, "You can cry. I'll stay here with you." That moment, simple, tender, and profoundly vulnerable, hits harder than any grand romantic gesture. There's no dramatic music swell, no sweeping declarations of love, just two people choosing to stay, to listen, to be present for each other's pain. That's what emotional intimacy looks like. That's what it feels like. And it's in these small, raw moments that K-dramas shine. And these characters aren't flawless. They make mistakes. They miscommunicate. They get scared. But they don't run. They learn. They show up. And that kind of emotional labor, the willingness to work through pain instead of walking away, is exactly what makes their relationship so resonant. In today's dating culture, emotional investment is often seen as risky. We're told to keep it light, casual, nonchalant. But K-dramas show us something else entirely, that the risk is what makes it meaningful. Love isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be real, and real takes effort. Some of the most beloved K-dramas tell stories that feel epic, almost mythological. These aren't just romantic comedies or melodramas, they're emotional odysseys. Take Crash Landing on You, where a South Korean heiress is stranded in North Korea and falls in love with a soldier on the other side. Their love story unfolds under the weight of geopolitical tension, life-threatening risks, and cultural division. And yet, at its core, it's about two people learning to protect, support, and understand each other. Or look at Goblin, a supernatural drama where an immortal being waits 900 years for the one human who can end his curse. Their relationship spans centuries, tragedy, and rebirth. But despite the fantasy elements, it's deeply grounded in very human emotions, such as grief, loneliness, hope, and love. These stories don't just rely on grand gestures or fantasy tropes, they create emotional stakes that feel real. Characters are tested by time, fate, family, or personal demons. And when they choose love anyway, it hits with all the weight of their journey. When they finally unite, it doesn't feel like a fairy tale ending. It feels like a beginning that's been fought for. There's a quiet strength in the way K-dramas handle emotional intimacy. These stories thrive on vulnerability. Rather than showcasing love as something that happens between two perfect people, K-dramas dive into the messiness of real emotions. Shows like My Liberation Notes explore loneliness, emotional stagnation, and the kind of love that doesn't try to rescue you, but gently invites you to become more of yourself. The central relationship isn't flashy or idealized. It's slow, quiet, and achingly honest. It's about two people who are emotionally worn down by life, learning to show up for each other without pretense. Their connection doesn't fix them. Rather, it frees them, even just a little. That's why when the couple finally confesses their feelings or shares their first kiss, it feels monumental. Because it's not just a plot point, it's a culmination of emotional risk, trust, and transformation. K-dramas take us on that journey. They ask us to wait, to invest, and in doing so, they give us something most media doesn't: emotional catharsis. In an age where instant gratification is the norm, why does classic romance still work? Well, it's probably because it feels almost radical. But maybe that's why it works so well. K-dramas return to the basics: patience, mutual respect, and emotional vulnerability. And remind us why those things mattered in the first place. Think about a show like My Love from the Star. The central relationship spans centuries, and yet every moment feels fresh and grounded. Every glance, every silence, every touch carries weight. Because nothing is rushed. Every beat of the story is carefully earned. This kind of romance speaks to something primal in us: the need to be seen, the desire to feel safe, the longing for love that lasts. And when everything else in life feels like it's moving too fast, these stories become a form of emotional refuge. They also challenge modern assumptions about relationships: that love has to be loud or performative, that attraction equals connection, that romance is dead. K-dramas show us that love doesn't have to shout to be powerful. Sometimes it whispers. And those whispers are what stay with us long after the final episode. Let's not overlook one of the biggest reasons K-dramas work: the wait. The will they, won't they dynamic isn't just tension for tension's sake. It's narrative craftsmanship. It builds anticipation, it deepens investment. It mirrors the emotional complexity of real-life romance. In our real dating lives, there's rarely a moment where everything clicks instantly. We hesitate, we wonder, we grow. And when a connection does form, it feels even more precious because of the uncertainty that came before it. K-dramas lean into that uncertainty. They don't give us what we want right away, but when they finally do, it's so much sweeter because of the journey it took to get there. That slow build makes the resolution feel earned, and it teaches us a valuable lesson. Love isn't about speed, it's about timing. And sometimes, the best stories are the ones that take their time. At their core, K-dramas are doing something quietly powerful. They're reminding us of what we already know deep down, but often forget in the chaos of modern life. That love takes time, that the best relationships don't happen overnight, and the most meaningful connections aren't built on instant attraction alone. They're built in the quiet, in-between moments, in late-night conversations, in shared silences, in showing up when it's hard, and staying when it's easier to leave. They show us that love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. A decision to open up, to be vulnerable, to let someone see the parts of you that aren't curated or filtered. In a world where we're constantly told to be cool, detached, and unbothered, K-dramas dare to suggest that real strength lies in vulnerability. That caring deeply isn't something to be ashamed of, but something to be proud of. That emotional risk is what makes love matter in the first place. And maybe, just maybe, we don't have to settle for surface-level flings, texts that go nowhere, or the kind of dating that leaves us feeling more alone than when we started. Maybe we don't need another situationship. Maybe what we need is space to feel again, to want again, to believe that love can still be slow, messy, and worth waiting for. That's the quiet revolution K-dramas are leading. In a culture obsessed with speed, they hit pause. They invite us to be patient, to watch characters fall in love, not through grand declarations, but through glances, gestures, small moments that build over time. They remind us that love doesn't always come in fireworks. Sometimes it comes in a steady flame, the kind that warms you slowly, completely, and lasts. So if you're tired of swiping, tired of ghosting, tired of pretending that casual is enough when your heart is quietly craving more, you're not alone. You're not too much. You're not wrong for wanting something deeper, and maybe it's time to look somewhere new. Or rather, somewhere old. Somewhere classic. Because while the world keeps telling us to move fast, to get over it, to move on, K-dramas remind us of something radically different. That love, real love, is worth slowing down for. It's not about finding the perfect person right away. But it's about building something real with someone who's willing to grow with you. And in that reminder, they give us hope. Not just for romance on screen, but for the kind we still want to believe in off-screen too. If K-dramas brought back slow and soulful romance, their leading men made sure we felt every heartbeat. But some actors take sexy to another level. Click here to meet the 24 sexiest K-drama stars of all time.